Welcome to Chop Shop Motors. We're going to try something a little different here. Usually we are talking about cars and projects and motors and things of that nature. Projects that we're just selling or projects that we're buying, parts that we're moving around, all kinds of stuff. What I realized is that there are probably a number of younger enthusiasts, maybe not in age, but in familiarity with the hobby. And there aren't a lot of places on YouTube anyway that give them a little bit of insight into exactly what it would take to maybe start out in this old car hobby. Not necessarily doing exactly the same stuff I do, or there's a lot of other channels focusing on different areas, but what is it in general that somebody would need to dig into this hobby and start to develop a love for it? About 2 weeks ago, I had a real young fella reach out to me, and he bought an F100 bed I had, and he was super excited, and he was about 16, and he was putting together a 55 F100, and his excitement and his enthusiasm was off the chain. It was so cool. And his dad was with him, and his dad was letting him kind of learn the ropes. And I thought, how about those people out there, guys or gals, that maybe don't have someone showing them the ropes? Maybe they don't know about it. Maybe they're busy doing other stuff. Maybe they have always been into sports and decided, I want to try this other thing. I just have a feeling. Maybe I want to build a import car. Maybe I want to build a truck. Who cares what they build? And so I decided I'm going to try on the midweek. I'm going to try doing hot rod shop class. So it's going to start out really simple. It's going to start at the very beginning, at the basics. So this is episode 1 of hot rod shop class, and let's dive into some of the simplest items as we get rolling in shop class, just like I would have done when I was a freshman in high school going to shop class. I don't even know if they teach shop class anymore, but I remember when I went, there were a whole bunch of guys and a couple girls, and the girls were it was pretty cool to see them get involved in it. And not that this matters much, but set some context. There was a girl who had a 67 Camaro that was in shop class, and she was cute, and she marched to a different drummer, and she wanted to keep her 67 Camaro rolling, and that was pretty cool. So this is for guys and gals. Age doesn't really matter. And let's take a look at what episode 1 kind of holds in store for you at an entry level. I wanted to start with the very basics around what hand tools would you need as you start to explore this hobby. And many of you will say, well, I already have hand tools, and this is the simple stuff, and in some ways you're absolutely right. But I'll give you some maybe some do's and some don'ts as you look at hand tools, and I'll let you know maybe some places you can save a little money. So as you watch YouTube channels, you'll see lots of shops that have unlimited tools, lots of shops that have really cool stuff, unbelievably neat metal shaping tools, and all kinds of cool stuff, hoists and lifts, and air conditioning garages, and all the cool stuff, which I love that. As I stand here sweltering in 105 in my own garage. But not everybody has that. And not everybody has a toolbox full of snap-on tools, which I love. I have lots of snap-on tools, but I didn't have them when I first got started. And I have quite a few tools, but I'm going to walk you through what might be a great way to start your toolbox, and maybe not do it with the cheapest Chinese import tools around. They will work, but I'll tell you right now, the better the tool, the more fun you'll have. It's less frustrating, you'll have better results, and in the long game, it's all about the fun. So let's look at what I have. So this is actually a set of tools that I have that I put in my truck if I take a road trip, not my everyday truck, but one of the hot rods. And so I have thought about what's in there, but basically everything that you see here I bought used. So this was a set of Thorson sockets, and they look brand new, and they're super cool. I love them, but I love all tools. I'm a tool addict. And what I did was I went to, there is a shop, a business in Tucson, a couple hours away, and they sell used tools. And they had a set, a Thorson set, still in the original package, and it was from probably the 70s, and I bought it. It was very affordable, and I got a set of made in USA Thorson deep and shallow sockets, and it had a metal case, but that metal case didn't quite work for what I was doing. And maybe what you're going to be doing is going to be a little different if you were building out a toolbox for the first time. And in a later edition, we'll talk about toolboxes. There's no shortage of stuff to talk about as we start to explore tools you'll use to build a hot rod or work on a hot rod or keep something running. So the cool thing about this is everything's made in USA, which I don't know if I'm a snob, because I don't know if that's being a snob or not, but I just don't buy, I don't need to buy import tools, because you can buy a good used made in USA tool for the same money, if not less. So step one, if you're starting out and your toolbox is empty and your toolbox consists of a cardboard box that you're going to put some tools in once you get them, the first thing you want to do is buy a socket, extension, and a ratchet set, and at least start with the deep sockets. My first socket set I ever got was a Thorson, and it was a deep set of sockets and a ratchet. And so probably why I have an affinity for the Thorson, and I still have that set in one of the spare sets for one of the cars, because I have tools in all the cars that I might drive, just so I don't get stranded. So start out with a set of sockets and a ratchet. That's step one. If you can get deep like this, deep sockets, and a set of shallow, short set of sockets as well, these are 12 point, but 12 point or 6 point, either will work. You can see that one of the sockets is a 6 point, and that's because that's the way the set came. Remember, I bought this at a used tool store, and they probably had bought it. They probably got, who knows, a truckload of tools, and one of the sockets was missing, so they fixed it with one they had in inventory. I'm fine with that. It did exactly what I wanted it to do. Okay, first item. There's going to be 3 we're going to touch on in this video. First item, a simple set of sockets and ratchet. Now, if you do import stuff, and you work on Volkswagens or Hondas or things like that, you're going to probably want to look at buying a set of metrics. Whatever suits your kind of vehicle, start there. I do mostly American stuff, but I have metrics. But when you're first starting out and you don't have much cash, you're going to start out with the most important thing. So check off first item. You have now got a set of sockets. Okay, let's look at the next item. Next item is going to be some screwdrivers. Because you know there are all kinds of things that require screwdrivers. So this is a set of screwdrivers that I bought at a swap meet. I think I spent maybe 10 bucks on this set of screwdrivers. Now you might look at them and go, well, they're a set of red-handled screwdrivers, big deal, I can buy them for 10 bucks. I can go to Amazon and buy them. And you're right, you can. The difference is that these happen to be Mac. So let's see if you can kind of see, there it is. These are Mac. So what Mac is one of the top tier tool manufacturers in the United States. So Mac, Matco, and Snap-on are current manufacturers that are super high quality. And so when you come across a screwdriver that is a Mac, Matco, or Snap-on, Craftsman are good. The older Craftsman are good. I've heard good things about Irwin. Those are tools that will have, let's see if I can get a really strong tip on them. So the tips are what make the screwdriver good or bad. So when you have a tip that is higher quality and the steel is better and the hardening process is better, the tool's going to work better and it won't be as frustrating. You won't round off the heads and things like that. So again, $10 swap meet. You might not be able to get another Mac or Snap-on. Snap-ons are going to be the hardest to get really cheap at swap meets, but Macs and Matcos and Craftsman are absolutely out there. Just check the tips to make sure they're not all bunged up or worn out or broken. If the blades are good and they look like, see if that focus, they look like they're gonna do the job just like they're supposed to, you're in good shape. Not much to worry about. So you're gonna want a set of screwdrivers. At least get a Phillips and a regular to start with. As you go on, you'll want to get a little bigger regular. And it'd be good to get a bigger Phillips, but you don't use it as often. So that might not be something you get right away. All right, so now we have two things in the toolbox. We have a set of sockets. We have a set of screwdrivers. I know, super basic, but this is how it starts. Okay, third thing, you're going to want to get a set of wrenches. These wrenches are Craftsman. They're early ones. They're made in USA. They're a full set. Again, I got them at a swap meet. I think I paid maybe $15 for the set. I'm pretty picky at the swap meets, but probably $15. And what that got me was a set, a combination wrench, which is a box end on one side and an open end on the other. You will use this all the time as wrenches go. Now, there are other cool wrenches that you could get as time goes on, like ratchet wrenches or very specific use wrenches, angle wrenches, and we'll look into those. If this video seems to be of any value, we can continue to explore the next tier of a toolbox. But everyday use, you're going to get a ton of use out of this combination set. Now, at some point, you'll want maybe a second set, because most of the things you have one for the nut and one for the bolt. But let's just start with a set of wrenches. Now, what you see there is a set of probably, I don't know, probably 90s Craftsman combination wrenches. This is when Sears was still in business and they still had tool makers making their tools, so they're still high quality. They still sell tools through the Craftsman line. I think you can get them at Lowe's and probably Ace. But what I'm trying to show you is a way to get your toolbox started on the cheap. So, other wrenches that are good, you can get Industro. Industro was a wrench that was around from the 30s up until the 90s. A set of Industrials is probably going to be $10 at the swap meet. You can get SK, another really good wrench. You can get New Britain. You can get Thorson. You can get Craftsman. You can get Napa, which is actually, I think their Duro was sold at Napa. You can get New Britain, which was sold, if I didn't already say this, those were sold at Napa. So there are lots of different companies that sold really good wrenches, and you can tell by looking at them. Do not get wrenches made in China. I don't care who I make mad. They are crap. Don't hurt yourself. Don't whack yourself in the forehead. Don't skin your knuckles on buying that stuff that just isn't very good. It's cheap, but it won't not make the hobby fun. The same for the sockets. There are lots of different companies that make really good sockets. As I said, Snap-on, Matco, Mac make all these tools. Craftsman will supply all of these pieces. SK is a really good tool company. Thorson, Industro, Duro, New Britain, all of those companies that were in their heyday, especially in the late 50s, early 60s, will make tools that will absolutely do the job for you and get you started in this hobby. This group of tools you could probably have in your toolbox for, if you're shopping around and doing a really good job, maybe $40. $40 to end up with high quality, useful tools, and do not ever feel bad that they're not Snap-on. I love Snap-on. I love the feel of Snap-on. I get it. I know why women buy really expensive purses. They love the feel. These tools will work just as well and give you just as many miles of fun. So, after this, next week we'll do another one. We'll look at another group of kind of entry-level tools that can be really helpful as you get kind of your foot in the door on the hobby and maybe get introduced to it. There's nothing like having some tools of your own and going out and fixing something of your own. It is a point of pride. I'm Clay for Chop Shop Motors, and we'll see you on the next project.